Yeah.
recording. And we are live.
Yay!
Welcome to episode 2 of Book
Woohoo!
Witches with a B. um, in today's episode, we are going to talk about chapters 6 through 10 of A Court of Thorns and Roses
There we go.
by Sarah J. Maas. Hi everyone! I am going to give you a short recap of what happened in chapters 6 through 10 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So we open up chapter 6 with Feyre in Prythian. She is at the Beast's estate and she's kind of walking up. Thus far, she's noticed that Prythian is warm, there's bird chatter, it's quiet and peaceful, but it's also like eerily empty. She hasn't seen any other fairies up until this point. She's also noticed that there is the smell of magic in the air, which smells like metallic and tangy. Farah considers her chances of being able to escape in her condition, having not eaten for however many days, and she decides that she's too weak from hunger and thirst, so she should probably try to find some nourishment before she can make a run for it. As she's mulling all of this over and walking into the estate, the beast, ta-da, turns into a man, or a man-like fairy. So we know that he's high fae. He is humanoid. He is described quite beautifully. He's got golden hair. He's tall, broad, muscular. Peculiarly, he has a mask covering the top half of his face. Farah follows him into the dining hall, and awaiting there is the ginormous feast. She does notice that the food is similar to what they would have in the mortal realms, roast chicken, potatoes, things like that. She does wonder if the food has been made by human slaves, even though slavery has been banned since the treaty. And she also remembers that humans have been warned to never eat fairy food and never drink fairy wine because it can cast magic over you, it can entrap you, things like that. So while she's thinking all of this over, we are introduced to another fairy, actually, another high fae named Lucian. He is also tall and broad, and he has a brutal scar across his face, the top half of which is also covered with a mask. He wears a fox mask, which I always thought was a fun detail. He's got auburn hair, he has a brutal scar across his face, and he's missing one eye that's been replaced by a metal eye. We don't know really the workings of the eye. It's metallic, it's magical. Through Lucian and Tamlin's conversation, Feyre learns that Andres is the name of the wolf fairy that she did in fact kill, and she finds out that Andres was Lucian's friend, so he hates her. He's unimpressed. He thinks she's the worst, but he is forbidden from hurting Feyre by Tamlin. At this point in time, we are introduced to another fairy, actually, a servant who goes by the name of Alice. She's wearing a bird mask. At this point, Pharaoh wonders if there's some bizarre fairy fashion with the masks. She's just really curious about what's going on with them. She's taken to a room, a rather nice room, and she is bathed and cleaned. Her hair is cut. She's like groomed and everything. And they're basically getting her ready for dinner. And Feyre is presented with a dress to wear. She refuses the gown because she is thinking to herself, well, I can't really run in a gown. She'd rather wear her old clothes that she came in. Alice, in a rather surly manner, informs Feyre that her clothes fell apart the moment they touched water, but she does acquiesce and bring Feyre a tunic and trousers to wear. Alice tells Feyre that she can't even trust her senses in a place like Prythian. Her senses will even fool her, so it would do her good to stop talking, keep her mouth shut, and just listen to whatever's happening so she can be aware. She also, however, tells Feyre that if she has the courage to, Lucian could do with a good sassing. So that was a fun little detail. Chapter 7, we find out the beast's name finally. His name is Tamlin, and he is the big grumpy lord of this estate. Feyre refuses to eat because of all of her concerns from before, so Tamlin magically forces her to sit at the table and makes her sit there until she agrees to eat. He does reassure her that the food was not made by human slaves and that it's perfectly fine to eat. He says the food here is safe for human consumption, it just tastes really good, and human food will never taste the same to you again. Of course, she's never leaving, so that doesn't really matter. Fairies can't lie, as Farah knows, but they can be very tricky with her words, so she mulls it over a little bit and then decides, well, he can't lie, so he must be telling the truth. She gives in and she eats, and she ends up wolfing down a bunch of food. It's the best food she's ever tasted in her entire life. Tamlin and Lucien start chatting with Farah after she's finished eating, and they're suspiciously intrigued by her love life. They ask her about Isaac. They seem a little concerned that she might have a love that she left behind, but she assures them that no, she's not in love with Isaac. She doesn't love anyone. She's very confused about this line of questioning, but whatever, she goes with it. It's confirmed Farah is 19 years old, so she is a young adult. She was even younger. That means she was 14 years old when she went into the woods and started hunting to keep her family alive. Later that night, Farah goes to her room, and before she falls asleep, she sets a little trap by the door made from the curtains just in case anyone tries to come in and harm her. She figures even though it won't hold the fairies, she'll at least have a little bit of warning. Alice is indeed trapped by the snare in the morning and is a little disgruntled at the curtains being ruined. Farah decides that while she's trying to figure out how she's going to escape, she decides to go and take a walk in the garden. She notices some paintings in a hallway as she's passing by, and because she has this artist's mind, she's completely blown away by the artistry of these paintings. And she runs into a very awkward Tamlin on her way to the garden. While they're chatting awkwardly, she learns that there's a blight that has befallen Prithian. It makes magic act quote unquote strangely, and the masks are a result of one such attack. So they're not some sort of bizarre fashion, they actually can't be taken off. So they're kind of like a curse, one would say. um, it is a possibility. Tamlin admits that the blight might eventually reach the mortal lands, and Feyre is panicked, and she resolves to find a way to definitely get back to her family so that she can take them away, take them to the continent. In chapter 8, as Feyre is wandering around the grounds, she's mulling over this predicament that she has, and she decides that Lucien is probably her best shot at escape. At the very least, since Lucien hates her so much, he'll be a good ally in trying to help get rid of her to send her back to the mortal lands. While she's thinking about all of this, she suddenly feels like she's being watched, and she can hear footsteps and giggles behind her. As she turns, she can almost see the outline of two child-sized fairies shimmering behind her. But then her attention is led elsewhere. She's called to dinner by Alice. When she turns back around, nothing's there. At dinner, Tamlin tells Farah that he didn't leave her family with nothing. He's seen to their well-being. If she wants to take care of them, then she should stay in Prithian as she's promised to do. Farah doesn't react well to the news, as after all, this has been the entire purpose of her life for as long as she can remember. She also is a little bit uneasy and unsettled by the logic of keeping her oath to her mother by breaking it and leaving her family to go to Prithian. Tamlin and Lucien learn that Farah's mom passed away when she was very young, and this sort of thaws a little bit of the ice between her and Tamlin. Tamlin apologizes, it seems very sincere. Back in her room, Farah is caught between trying to keep her family safe and taken care of by staying in Prithian and breaking the promise to stay in Prithian to run back and protect her family from this mysterious blight. She packs the go bag just in case an opportunity arises. Chapter 9 dawns a new morning. Farah sets out on a mission to convince Lucien to help her convince Tamlin to let her go back to the mortal realms. She is resolved to go back. She thinks that logic is on her side. If there's a blight in Prithian that's going to reach the mortal realms, then why must she live out the rest of her days there? Why can't she go back and, protect her family from the possibility of this mysterious danger hanging in the air? Lucian's on border patrol, so Feyre is determined to go and join him. On her way to the stables, she again runs into Tamlin, who offers to take her riding, and she refuses him with a pretty flimsy excuse, saying she just wants to be alone, and hurries on to the stables. In my opinion, this was a very flimsy excuse. It doesn't seem very plausible, especially since she has been alone since she got to Prithian, but that's fine, neither here nor there, whatever. Lucien invites her to come along with him. We do get one detail that the stable boys are wearing horse masks, so they've been trapped, poor things, in horse masks for who knows how long because of the blight. While Lucian and Farah are riding through the forest, he is wondering aloud why Farah isn't hunting. He jokes it's nothing good enough for her here. He makes a lot of quips about it. So Farah finally decides that she has the courage and she gives him the sass he deserves. She sasses him by saying, "Listen, I don't like hunting. I never hunted for pleasure. It was for survival. It was for my survival. It was for my family's survival." She also apologizes to Lucian for what she did to Andrus, and she is really quite horrified by the truth of what she's done. Lucian at this point tells Farah that he knows that she's trying to get his help, but he can't help her escape. There's no way around the treaty. They talk about the Blight a little bit more. Apparently, they've been in masks for 49 years, which is just an awful detail. And we get the first mention of a mysterious and terrifying she. And for those of you listening along and not watching, I say she in quotes. This random she. Farah wonders, who is this woman or this female? Lucian is scared of her. He spoke of her in hushed tones. Farah ponders if she's maybe the High Lady of this territory. What does she have to do with the Blight? As Farah is wondering all of this, she decides to try to get a little bit more information out of Lucian. Lucian is reluctant to answer too many more questions, but he does mention that there is a type of fairy out there called the Suriel, Suriel, who, if caught, will answer all of Farah's questions. As Farah is trying to get more information on the Suriel, everything goes quiet and still. Lucian becomes notably pale and frightened and tells Farah to stop talking, put her bow down, look straight ahead no matter what happens next. Which brings us to chapter 10. Enter the Bog, a mysterious and terrifying invisible creature. We have a voice in Farah's head it's described as a vicious, scary voice, not human, obviously, and it's threatening to do gruesome things to her and demanding that Farah looks at it. So Farah is trying to distract herself from the threats of munching on her bones and tearing her apart with his teeth, and the demands that she look at it by thinking of things that make her happy to distract her. She thinks of a cloudless, starry night sky. She thinks of time with Isaac. And finally, she is able to keep looking forward and not look at the bog, and it disappears. Lucian informs Farah that if she had looked, the bog would have become real and it would have been able to do all of the things that it was threatening her to do. The bog doesn't belong in these lands, and Lucian is not powerful enough to kill it, and he says we should go before it finds us again. At home, Tamlin is extremely vexed with Farah and Lucian, but then Lucian informs him of the bog, and Tamlin storms off to go and hunt it. Apparently, Tamlin can kill the bog. Farah waits up for hours into the night waiting for Tamlin's return. She's not sure why she does it. She doesn't want to look pathetic if he catches her, so she finally decides to go to bed. But as she turns away from the window, something catches her eye and she turns around to see her father hobbling towards the house. And that is where we end for this episode. Doo-doo. Welcome to our segment of talking about the characters. Woot woot.
Woo! We've met so many new ones this time.
I
Actually.
List of characters. We
Which
find
I'm excited
out the
about.
wolf's name is Andres. We find out the beast's name is Tamlin. We are introduced Tamlin, yeah. Important ladies and gentlemen and people. We learn we're introduced to Lucian and we are introduced to
Absolutely.
Alice. Let's talk about Alice. She is a servant. She's wearing a bird mask. She is confirmed to not be high fae, but she looks like a human, which is
interesting. Yeah.
I love Alice. She's like no nonsense. She thinks Farah is dumb. She would be a special guest on our Farah is dumb segment. I think she would take great joy.
She would thrive in the Farah is dumb category. Oh no, I absolutely adore Alice. I love that she's not like, oh look at this poor horrible human. She's like, get it together, put on your clothes, and go eat your food. She's like, I am not having it. I don't have time. I have other things to do. Are you sick? Don't care.
Yeah. She's like, I'm
but in like a loving way.
But you matter a zero amount to me. Like, let's go.
Uh-huh. Well, I also can't imagine like someone like being a servant, right? And this random human just showing up and like living in this like very lavish bedroom, getting all of this food, getting to eat with these like clearly very important people.
Yes.
That would be like odd. I'd be like, I don't know what's happening here. Just put on your clothes and like do your thing. Like this is not my business.
Agreed. Like Alice is like, you don't understand the honor and like the
Yeah.
luck to end up where you are
Yeah.
right now. And you're just
Yeah.
like, give me my old dirty holy clothes. I don't want to wear this dress.
Which like fair enough. Maybe he doesn't always want to wear the dress. Fair. Honestly, sometimes if I'm planning on doing things, I also don't want to wear a
This
dress.
is true. This is true. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I think that she gives Farrah some really important advice too. I think
Mm-hmm.
that although she clearly is like, who the heck is this human being,
Yeah.
she very clearly, there's something about her, she's rooting for her. She's like, hey, I want
Yeah.
you to survive. I want you to do well. Keep your mouth shut and listen to everything that you hear. Lucian
Mm-hmm.
deserves your sass because I can tell you're sassy.
Yes. Yeah. He's like, he. Please give it to him. I
Yes.
am begging you. Someone needs to.
Someone
I do every day. I'm sure.
I'm
She sasses him
sure.
every
Oh my
day.
God, can you imagine Alice and Lucian's interactions? Lucian is like just
I
being
actually don't know if we ever
Lucian.
see them
I
interact.
don't think we do. Lucian's just like,
Oh, I'm
being
upset
Lucian,
about
and
that.
Alice is like, Lucian.
Like, literally get it together. I don't care. I can't handle you.
Yes, that's what, Sarah, are you listening? We need this.
Sarah, a spin-off novel of just Alice and Lucian
Adventures
interacting.
of Lucian and Alice. Could you imagine? Um,
Fanfiction writers, get on it. Come on.
yes, come on.
Also an option.
Let's see, what else about Alice? I want to know more about her. I'm intrigued by her.
No, too. She very clearly is like a like more developed character than like you would typically think of. Like often, which is a good thing. Servant characters are often just like they appear and then they leave, but like she's actually like a developed, has a personality,
Yes, she's a whole
has character
person.
there.
Um, I think it's
Yes.
important to note here too. So while I have been reading the chapters, I'm more of a reader, but I do listen to audiobooks from time to time, like if I'm like working
Mm.
or cleaning or whatever, or driving, long drives, audiobooks are great.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah. Right.
dramatized adaptation of this book series,
So good.
done
Please,
by
I'm begging you to
Graphic
listen to
Audio.
it if you haven't.
So good. Please listen to it. It's the best. It's the only audiobook version as far as I'm concerned. Um, and
It's so good.
Alice's voice actor, I think she sounds like kind of like a older matronly sort of no
Yeah.
nonsense. Like I think that whoever is playing her, they chose perfectly. She does a great
Oh,
job.
perfectly. It helps with the characterization, I think, too, like hearing and listening. It kind of helps translate like what you're reading, what's written into like a full
Yes,
personality. Yeah.
yes. Although be prepared
Very
for
fun.
sound effects.
So many sound. So many.
Who do you want to talk about next? Should we talk about Tamlin now that we know his name and a little bit more
We
about
can talk about Tamlin. We can talk about Tamlin, absolutely.
All right. Initial thoughts about Tamlin, Tam Tam.
Mm-hmm.
Reason,
Good old Tammy boy.
little Tammy boy. He's definitely grumpy and he's also so awkward. Like he like does not know how to converse with Feyre.
I feel like as attractive as he is, this should not be a problem. Like, because he's described as like attractive in
Yes.
this section, like tall, tall, broad, blonde.
Yes.
There we go. He's described as this, like Adonis of a man, and he's like, "Hello,
Hey,
hey." Like, what?
your hair is clean.
It's just such.
Lu-
It's kind of relatable.
Lucian immediately makes fun of him for not being able to flirt with women after that comment.
Yeah, 100%. I think you. How could you not?
Yeah.
You're just in there like, dude. Also, I would also like to talk about the fact, right? So, like, we see Tamlin
Mhm.
bursting through the door, grumpy, has to come with me. And maybe there's some sort of character thing that like changes like personality traits between the beast form and like humanoid form? How did we go from you killed my friend to oh, you're kind of hot? Is it like because she's clean? Did that suddenly change? Like, is that what happened? Because I guess maybe.
Maybe.
He's like, I can hit on you, maybe. I can try to carry a conversation. You're like, what happened?
Well, so like if we're also picking up on context clues because Lucian is like, how do you not want I hate you, but I'm offended that you're not swooning more at how hot we are, right?
Like,
Like
yeah, yeah. Like, he's like, come on now, hit on this. And you're just like, I don't does everyone in this realm, like, hate each other and that's just kind of what they do? Like, I
right,
don't.
interesting question.
Yeah.
Tamlin, as fierce as he is in beast form, as clearly powerful as he is just like in regular life and all of that, like he just he seems grumpy. I think this is the
Hmm.
most accurate translation of Beast from Beauty and the Beast to Beast
Yeah.
in A Court of Thorns and Roses. He's just
Yeah.
like a sullen, kind of grumpy, awkward, like man
Yeah.
child, is what I'm getting.
He's like if Mr. Darcy didn't have character development.
Hmm.
Like, he's like
Yes.
Mr. Darcy at the beginning of Pride and Prejudice.
He really is. That's so funny.
Which
Mr.
maybe he could
Darcy,
develop
but a
into a more
beast.
interesting character. But yeah, just like the stand, especially like in my head, like the 2005 movie Pride and Prejudice. I know there's
Yes.
a debate. We're gonna go with that one for now.
It's fine.
I
I
know we're
agree with
talking to
you.
book people. It's a whole thing. But like, I'm
I
just
agree with
like,
you.
thank you. I'm just like standing in the corner, just being like, hmm. Well, like Bingley, who was clearly Lucian, is just absolutely
Yeah.
be bopping around
Right.
in the world. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Right. Like Lucian, well, clearly Lucian doesn't think Farrah's hot because he definitely would have said it. He would have been like,
yeah.
he would have been like, you look nice. Right?
I really think he might just be trying to give Tamlin a chance.
I think so.
Truly, I think he's trying to let Tamlin have a fighting chance.
He's like wingman in this situation. But like,
Trying to be.
okay, like we've talked enough about Tamlin. Let's talk about Lucian because
The person we want to talk about. I love him so much.
I love him so much. He's sassy, he has
Uh,
wit, he's like sarcastic, seems to have a pretty good sense of humor.
I have said this. Lucian's right there. Me as Feyre, if I was Feyre, right, did all of this stuff, saw this man, I'd be like, that's what I want.
Yes. Yes.
That's my man.
It's like, and I agree because it's like choosing between this like stoic, grumpy man beast
Hmm.
who took you from your family, knowing that you were
Hmm.
their sole like means
Yeah,
of livelihood, or this man who, yeah, he hates you right now, but he's like kind of hot.
justifiably.
He justifiably hates you right now. He's kind of hot. You have banter with him.
Yeah.
Like, there's chemistry there. I also would choose Lucian.
I think she thought about it. So we're also running under the assumption here, right, that she's supposed to choose one of these two men. These are the two
Yes.
hot men that we're presented with, so we're running under the assumption. We know it's a romance book. We just don't know which one the choice is going to be.
We know it's a
We
Beauty and
have
the Beast retelling too, so like in my mind's eye, like I'm like, okay,
it's probably Tamlin.
it's probably Tamlin. He's the one who turns into a freaking beast. He's literally the
Yeah.
beast, but like
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to talk about tropes in fantasy romance novels because
Yeah.
some of our listeners are definitely well versed in it. Some might be a little bit
Hmm.
new to this idea. In fantasy romance, and especially in like the Sarah J. Maas universe, there are
Hmm.
always multiple love options. Whoever they end up
Yes.
with in like whatever, like there is always options.
Hmm.
As readers, we don't always agree with who they choose to end up with.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just absolutely infuriating. I'm not saying this is one of those times. Um,
He's just right there.
yeah,
He's right there.
he's right there.
We,
We love
he's right
Lucian.
there. Hmm. He
Um,
also can carry a conversation, which is the most important, I feel like.
Correct, correct. He's smart.
Uh-huh.
He knows what Fair is planning. He's like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you and me both want you gone. Can't help ya. You know, he's there.
Yeah.
He's supportive of her goals.
Might be trying to kill her in the process. We don't know.
We don't know.
It's fine.
It's forgivable in this realm of, morally gray fantasy romance.
Oh, 100%. He really is kind of actually, like, especially at this point in the book,
Yes.
a really good proponent of like morally gray,
Yes.
like character that like could be really interesting and maybe would be
Yes.
like the person that you would want.
I do
Yeah.
also, I just want to talk about morally gray characters.
Mhm.
In the fantasy romance realm, morally gray characters are like essentially all of the love interests are what people describe as morally gray. I would
Yeah.
argue that none of them are morally gray. They've usually killed so many people and have done torturous, horrible acts, but they love the person, and I agree that that redeems them. I agree, because I'm a hopeless romantic. But but I wouldn't say that they're morally gray. I would say that they are like that's just not it's just not it is not descriptive enough. Lucian is morally gray. He hasn't
Yeah.
actively killed anyone that we know of yet, but
No,
he's
no, yeah.
like, you could kill Farah. I wouldn't care. But he's also like, but I'm not gonna just kill her. There's some purpose there. We don't know why she's there. There's clearly
Yeah.
something more to it. But he's like, I wouldn't kill her, but I wouldn't mind if she died. That's morally gray.
That is true. That is very morally gray.
Yes.
Yes.
That's not
Yeah.
like let me just go kill a bunch of people. Like that's not morally gray, guys. That's not good. That's not good.
Orsha wants you to change your definitions of what morally gray is.
Yes. Yes, I'm not saying I disagree. I'm not saying that I too don't absolutely love all of these morally gray characters. I just don't think that it's the right description.
It's not gray, it's very black and white, is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
Very morally not messy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we just want to say it's morally gray, so we feel a little bit better about the fact that we also would fall in love with the murderer.
Listen, it's okay.
It's fine. Or just giving you a pass. We give you a pass. Fall in love
I
with the
give you a
murderer,
pass.
please.
It's fine. Fall in love with them.
Please.
I'm happily married. My husband is not morally gray. He's in fact pure-hearted, and lovely. I still fall for all of these murderers. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's all good.
I am very much not married, so I can still fall in love with a murder man. So, very open for me. The world is my oyster, truly.
Is there anything new about Farah do you think that we should add? I mean,
Oh, I just remember in this section being so annoyed with her. Of just being like, they keep telling you you can't leave. Why do you want to go back? Your father straight up told you not to come back.
yes.
Straight up was like, don't come back. Why are you trying? Like they just don't want you there.
Yeah.
Like you literally said your sister would be excited for you not to be there.
Yes.
Why do you want to go back? That was the main thing for her.
Very important to note is that like Tamlin is like, you don't need to go back. You can do whatever you want
Mhm.
here. You can't go back. You don't need to go back. I am taking care of your family. And if you do manage to leave Prithian specifically, like leave the manor, go do whatever you want. I don't care. If you leave Prithian, I will stop taking care of them. So if you leave,
Mhm.
you are dooming them again. You have to stay here. So the fact
Yeah.
that she is still planning on trying to escape
Yeah.
is so much more infuriating. Like, I understand not
I think
trusting him.
yeah, I do.
Like, what does he mean he's taking care of them? But you get the impression that he noted that she lived in a hovel. He noted how poor they were. He
Mhm.
heard her try to prepare her family to live without her. So when he says he's taking care of them, I would assume they're not starving anymore.
Yeah, they're like decently. Yeah, we're not assuming wealthy, but we're assuming like well off.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was the part that like I was frustrated about because like so the whole I think it takes away like what we're told, I guess maybe is like what she thinks her motivation is, which is like her motivation is because her mom said to like take care of them. She is taking care of them by not being around them.
Yes.
So in reality, it's not fulfilling her mom's duty, it's that she likes to feel needed.
Oh, yes.
Like it has nothing to do with that anymore. It's just she's like, no. Like it's almost like she's upset that they're doing okay without her.
Yeah.
Like she's like, no, like they can't do okay without me. I've done this the whole time. I deserve,
The
like the recognition and all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for which I'm not saying she does or doesn't, but like it's almost like a selfish part of her
Mm-hmm.
that like needs to go back to take care of them because that's what she's done and that's
Yes.
what she thinks that's her whole identity. She has no
Right.
identity if she's not that
And like,
anymore.
very slight spoiler alert, that does not change ever.
It does not. Her self-sacrificing is the worst part of her
It's
characterization.
so bad. Yes,
Yeah.
huge self-sacrificer. She's such a martyr.
but in a way that like serves her.
Yes.
I think if she was self-sacrificing in a way that like wasn't also serving back to her own emotional needs, it would make more sense. But
Mhm.
like that is like the thing with Feyre. I like a lot of things that she does. I think she's very smart,
Mhm.
very sassy, love all those things. She just is like selfish in the most odd ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I don't know if her motivations always make sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what she has done is absolutely incredible if you really think about it. We now know she was
Yeah.
14 years old when she went out into the woods. She,
Yeah.
at 14, saw neither of her sisters was going to lift a finger to make sure that they all didn't die of starvation.
Mm-hmm.
She knew that her father couldn't do anything really. I mean, he could have tried harder, but he couldn't have gone out and hunted in the woods. He couldn't have done that. And
No.
as a 14-year-old, she taught herself how to hunt to save her family.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think like some of that it would be really hard to let go. Of course, that's her entire identity.
Yeah. It is. It
But
is. And I understand. We should have a segment of which would just be the whole book. If therapy existed,
yeah,
none of this would have happened.
yes, correct, correct. If therapy
Yeah.
existed, man, things would be so different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that that pretty much sums up. I mean, we get a lot
Yeah.
more about like her painting mind comes out more. Let's go to our next segment. So, talking a little bit more about the world building, the mythology. I'm not sure if we have too much more to add that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah.
We know Alice is a lesser fae. We are introduced to the bog. We hear about the
Mm-hmm.
surreal. There's those weird children spirit things that we don't hear about again. I don't think we
We
ever
don't.
hear about
Yeah.
them again.
I actually didn't remember that as a thing. Like when you said it, I was like, I don't remember this
Yes,
at all.
yes.
So yeah.
It seems like where she is, the lands that she's in are like really empty.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how peaceful it is and how quiet, but she also talks about how weird it is. Like we only see the servants, Tamlin and Lucian.
Yeah.
We see, and then we don't see the bog. The bog is invisible. So
It
we don't
doesn't exist.
see
It's
the
fine.
bog, and then we don't see the children. They may or may not exist either.
Yeah.
We hear about the Storial. We have yet to see whether that thing exists and we can see it or not yet. So,
I like the idea that Lucian really just wants to see her run around the forest trying to catch up like a fairy tale, like Bigfoot,
mm,
like the Bigfoot of the Fey realms or something, right? Because that feels like something he would do because he
it
would think
does.
it's funny.
It does.
He's like, this person has all the answers,
Yes, go
and just
find
absolutely
him.
not
The
real.
fox mask. He's clever. He's mischievous. I like it. I
It's,
like it. So yeah, I don't know. And then like more Beauty and the Beast.
hmm.
It feels I don't know if anything was added to this. I mean, Lucian, if anything, Lucian's like Lumiere. I don't know.
He is Lumiere. He's gonna
Right?
fall in love with Feather Duster. Oh, oh, he would fall in love with Feather Duster. That's incredible.
He would.
He
He
is
would.
Lumiere.
Lucian is
Yeah.
Lumiere. New headcanon. Lucian is Lumiere. They even Oh my god, wait, Lucian is like light and Lumiere is like light. It's he literally how did I never
It's
know this
like
before? Did not
I
make the
haven't either.
connection.
I'm now just picturing Lucian doing the dance number in being our guest. Like that's my favorite didn't eat. Is because I didn't have which I guess I didn't process that. Belle also didn't eat when she first entered
No, she does not.
the thing,
Yep.
and neither does Feyre at first until she's convinced. Except for it's way less fun because I want
Yeah.
Lucian to do a whole
Yeah, I
dance
want Lucian to
routine.
sing Be Our Guest. Alice, oh my god, Alice is Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts, which she kind of describes her as like a plump,
Yes,
like rounder
yes.
woman, which is what Mrs. Potts is.
For the rest of this book, I'm gonna be picturing Lumiere and Mrs. Potts whenever they come on page.
Just this tall, skinny man with like some lights dancing around in the forest.
Okay, all right. New segment.
Oh,
Instead of
wonderful.
comparing it to Beauty and the Beast, we guess which characters are who. Who do you think Gaston is? Because like Isaac is not
Oh.
Gaston. Is
No, I don't think
Thomas
Thomas Mandrick
Gaston?
is. But no one really liked him necessarily, did they?
No.
I don't think we've met Gaston yet.
Okay. Okay, Lumiere, Lucian, it makes total sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Yeah, and Mrs. Potts. We don't really have a Chip, unless it was like ghost children. Unless you want to make them Chip.
We could make them Chip. We don't have well, we don't have a feather duster.
We don't have the feather duster. You
And
are
we don't have the
correct.
like really we really only have Lumiere and Mrs. Potts. We don't even have a Cogsworth, do we?
We don't, and I want one deeply. Cogsworth is one of my favorite characters from Beauty and
I
the
love
Beast.
Cogsworth is the only
He's
one who
wonderful.
was like sensible.
Yeah, the one that was like, just leave her alone. Like,
Yeah.
just let her go. Yeah, I don't think we have. Unless I mean, Tamlin kind of exhibits some Cogsworth
Cogsworth
like.
is both the Beast and Cogsworth, yeah.
It's that socially awkward uptightness that really like brings it home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tamlin is like the conversations between Cogsworth and the Beast, where Cogsworth is like, just be nice to her, and the Beast is like, grr, no. And that's like basically why Tamlin comes out as awkward.
that is Tamlin's head. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are the two like wolves. You know, the whole like two wolves fighting in their head. That's the two wolves that are fighting
Yes. Yes.
inside of
So to
Tamlin's brain.
summarize the end of this segment, Beauty and the Beast,
Uh
Feyre is Belle. Also, I
huh.
think it's important to note here, Feyre, like the name Feyre is supposed to mean like fair, which is beautiful. Belle also means beautiful. We have
Beautiful. Yeah.
Tamlin, who is Cogsworth and the Beast.
Yes.
We have Mrs. Potts is Alice. They're both kind of like rotund. One is a pot, one is a woman, you know?
Technically, the pot turns into a woman. It's fine.
Yes. Yes. The pot turns into a woman that looks like Alice in my mind, actually.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm picturing as well.
And the star of the show, Lucian slash Lumiere, both of their names have to
Uh,
do with light. I don't know how I never saw it before. um, there we go. All
Incredible.
right. Now let's move on to our newest segment. Tam Tam is
Yep.
dumb.
I have very strong feelings about this section, so um, mostly because Lucian's there, why Tam Tam, but it's okay. Um, he just I feel like he's supposed to be like the love interest, clearly. Like I think that's where this is pointing to. If you're trying to seduce, why grumpy?
Mm,
That is my main thought on that.
yes.
Like seduction is like smooth and like can even be a little bit stumbling depending. But like he's just
He's just
rude.
rude. So, secondary question. If you're
Yeah,
grumpy because she killed your friend, why seduce? And I know that we're
yeah,
like, I know it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but ignoring that, why?
right. Yeah, like if that's why you're grumpy, and if that's not why you're grumpy, then like what's happening,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like, so is he also? Yeah, I feel like he just kind of got over that whole like you killed my friend thing so fast. Lucian kind of took up that mantle and was like, you killed my friend,
Yes.
which makes me think maybe Tamlin wasn't as close to him
Yes.
to a degree.
Yes.
Like he's more of like something's going on with that situation, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. The power structure between Tamlin and Lucian is unclear. Um,
it is. Yeah, there seems to be some sort of like deference
yes.
situation there, but we don't really know why yet. Yeah.
Another Tam is dumb moment.
Yeah.
When he offers to take Feyre riding and she's like, "No, I want to be alone." And he's like, "Okay." And just leaves her.
For her to then, by the way, go find Lucian.
Yes.
To not even be alone. Like he didn't go to be alone. She went to go find Lucian.
And in my mind, when Feyre's like, "No, I want to be alone," she wasn't smooth. She was like caught unawares, and she's like, "No, I want to be alone." And he was like, "Okay."
I want to be alone. Yeah, like he's not just like, what do you mean alone? Like you were like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You don't want to be alone. You've been alone.
Why? What else does Tam Tam do that's super dumb? I feel like this is a small segment this time, but it's gonna get larger.
It does get larger. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like we don't see as much of him, mostly because Feyre's not focusing on him. Like, it really, at this point, Feyre is focusing on Lucian because she sees him as a way to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Tamlin is the one that keeping her there is a loose term, but kind of. Like, he's the one that's
Yeah.
keeping her there, the reason she's there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Next segment. Are they hot or are they a beast?
Or are they both?
Or are they both? This is my new segment, Dance.
Yeah, every time we have a new segment, we just do little spirit fingers. I like it.
Thanks. Tamlin, apparently not just a beast. Also hot.
Yeah, it's also apparently hot. I am not partial to blondies. We'll state that. I am the person that will always fall for the different colored hair character that is not blonde. Depending. But he's supposed to be conventionally attractive,
yes.
I think.
Yes.
So
I have no preference for hair color. I will say I tend to imagine people with darker hair when I read for some reason.
yeah, I do too.
But when I see like the fan art of Tamlin, I do agree that he's hot. So
yes, he's objectively attractive. He is the Chris Hemsworth of the world.
Yes, he is, and I love Chris Hemsworth. So
Chris Hemsworth is lovely. No, he's very handsome. I
as
understand.
Thor, which is also Tamlin, by the way. So
oh yeah, no, he just is Thor. Yeah, no, 100%. Actually, yes.
Right?
He's Thor in that first movie where Thor just cannot figure out how life works.
Yeah. Yes. Tamlin is Thor with a mask, can't figure out how life works. Lucian, do you think he's a beast?
I think it's hard to gauge because of the fox mask thing. Because I think that's gonna give him more animalistic, like, feature qualities.
Yeah. He also has what is described as a brutal scar that cuts through his metal eye.
That could be a little beastly. I'm partial to a good scar. I think they're kind of attractive, personally. I think it shows some character. Does sound like a horrific injury.
Yes.
Also intrigued by the whole, like, metal eye situation that we have going on. That seems intriguing.
Metal eye that he can indeed see through. Like, it works like an eye because of magic.
Yes. Which also makes this somehow, like, a little bit steampunk.
It does.
But, like, just that. The rest of it's not. It's just that eye.
Just that eye. Just the eye.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the reasons we came up with this segment is because there's a lot of hot men in the series. There's also a lot of beasts in the series, and there's some overlap there.
There is some overlap. I think I would put Lucian in just the hot category. I don't think... Because as far as we know, he can't shift into anything like Tamlin can. He's just hot.
He's just hot, yeah. Oh, important to note, Tamlin can shift other people. So putting people to sleep is not his only power.
Yes.
He doesn't just put people to sleep. He can also shift other people. So he shifts himself, which is a power. He can put people to sleep, which is a power. And apparently, Andros was one of the scouts looking for a cure. Andros didn't shift himself into a wolf. Tamlin shifted him into a wolf.
Yeah.
So Lucian is not a beast, because if Lucian ever took wolf form, it was Tamlin that shifted him.
That's true.
Yes. So, Tamlin's just hot. I don't think we have any other contenders for this segment this go around.
No, Alice is too much of a motherly figure for that to be an option.
Agreed.
Technically, Nesta would be both, I think, beast and hot. So. If we're really including someone in that category, it would be Nesta.
Yeah,
she is both.
And she's hot. I think that Feyre is probably just hot and not a beast.
Yeah, she doesn't have beast qualities. But Nesta has beast qualities.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed.
And Elaine is just lovely. Like, she's not hot, she's just lovely.
She's not included in this.
Yeah. She's very clearly not a beast, so.
Yeah. Gosh. Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Daddy issues. We don't have anything new to add in this section yet because we don't know anything new yet. So we're just going to leave it as still every single person in this series has daddy issues.
And we'll get there.
Welcome to Feyre is Dumb.
Oh. Woo-hoo. Spirit fingers. Again, if you are listening, we are doing little fluttery spirit fingers every time there is.
Spirit fingers, that's what they're called, yes.
So, okay. Feyre is dumb. Yes. I think we touched on it like a little bit when we were talking about characterization. Just the whole like insistence for me that she has to like fulfill. Maybe it's not even fulfill the duty in the way that she thinks she has to. Like she's fulfilling it by being there, but she thinks she has to do it in the way that she was previously doing it, and so she feels like she's not doing it. Like to me, that is
like why
dumb
can't
and frustrating.
Why can't she just not?
Yeah, like just let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Anyway, yeah, just let it go.
And like I get that she's loyal and she cares about her family and she's worried about them, but they don't deserve that. Just let it go.
They don't. They really don't. Literally told you to stay away. Although I guess her dad comes at the end, so maybe
That's true. Big cliffhanger, guys. Wow.
big cliffhanger. So maybe there's something that we're missing. Maybe there's more that we just didn't see in those first couple of chapters.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, having her dad across the wall, I have questions. Did he find a hole?
Yeah. How is he?
That they can't see?
Do that. Also, he's crippled.
Also, like,
he can't even go into the woods. How did he get across the wall?
If he was able to do all of that, and he hasn't been hunting for the last like 15 years.
Yeah, dude.
But like, I don't. Like, I have a lot of
questions.
A lot of questions about that. Yes.
A lot of questions. Yeah. Let's see. Feyre is dumb. She decides. I'm gonna say that this is dumb of her, even though I agree with her choices. If I was in her situation, I would be dumb this way too. She decides to go ask the person who she decides to go riding in the woods alone with the person who very clearly wants her dead.
Like literally the one person in this whole realm right now that is like, I will kill you.
Yes.
If it was an option.
And although he does try to save her, he saves her from the bog. He's like, don't look at it, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
That happens after they've been alone in the woods for hours already.
Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, maybe I should. Like, I just feel like her sense of self-preservation, and especially for someone who had to survive for so long, just is not there.
It's not. No.
I also think maybe she's a little bit distracted by that. He's attractive.
Yeah, definitely.
I think she's like not thinking clearly because she's like, that guy won't kill me, it's fine.
Yeah. I think so too. I think so too.
I don't think she'll ever admit it.
No.
But I think so.
No, and she also like she hasn't acknowledged that she finds any of them attractive, which I also think is dumb. Like you're not in any imminent danger right now. You have literally been told you're gonna live peacefully. Like stop fighting to get back to your family and do what Lucian suggests you do and enjoy the hotness of the people around you.
Yeah, like sitting like you're literally living. Like, you literally got, like, extreme makeover home editions, but in a weird way. Like, you got pulled out of your situation and plopped in a mansion with two hot men.
Yes.
Where they are telling you you don't have to do any work for the rest of your life.
Dream come true, honestly.
I was like, honestly, fair enough. You can if you want to. Don't have to. You can leave the mansion. You can go wherever you want. You can explore.
The choice is hers. The only thing she can't do is go back to her family across the border, which is the only
Which makes sense why she would want to. I don't understand. Like, I get missing your family. I do. But her family sucks.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Like.
Yes.
I also never understood why she didn't think to ask Tamlin if her family could come live with them.
Oh.
She never asked that.
She didn't ask that.
She's dumb. I don't know if it's because she's assuming they haven't broken the treaty, so there's something with the tree magic element where they can't cross, but I never understood why she never just didn't ask him, can we just bring, even if it, like, maybe not to live in the manor,
right,
but, like, to live somewhere in Prithian where she could see them and know.
Here's the two things. Like, I do remember, I do know she's, like, the whole time she's trying to protect them from this fairy, right? But Tamlin's like, I could kill you or I could not. You could come and live with me.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, is she just so... She thinks her family's gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
So why not ask to not be separated from them?
If you care about them that much, but see, the thing is I don't really think she wants her family. She wants to be needed. And we come back to that whole situation. It's not really about her family. It's about being needed. Tamlin doesn't need her. Lucian doesn't need her. Her family no longer needs her. No one needs her anymore. And she has no clue what to do.
She doesn't know what to do.
So, yeah. Which is fair. I'm not saying it's not.
Yes.
But
I will, like, very slight spoiler, I think she does grow out. I think she grows out of it a little bit. I think
She does. Yeah,
presented with the situation where she's not needed, she learns how to cope with it in ways,
she does.
but she also
She does.
never truly
And
lets it go.
I think she goes out of the like she never goes out of the self-sacrificing element, which I actually don't necessarily think is a negative trait. I think
Yeah.
self-sacrificing is a very positive character trait, but I do think she grows out of the like she becomes more confident in her identity as a person,
Yes.
where she doesn't need other people to define that for her.
Yes.
Eventually,
Agreed.
yeah.
Things to look forward to, because right now what we're dealing with essentially is like a traumatized, an
19-year-old. Yeah.
extremely traumatized 19-year-old who's never been able to actually figure out who she is on her own. Her entire
Yeah.
identity is being needed by her family, and they neglect and abuse her. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I maintain that she is dumb. She handled everything pretty dumbly. She should have stood
Mm-hmm.
up for herself. I understand not like really wanting to go against Nesta, but if they were all about to die, I would have been like, Nesta, I'm 14, you're 17. At least come with me.
Yeah. Like I would have dragged her. I do not care. What is she gonna
Yeah,
do to me?
right. Like
That's
if
not gonna happen to me
you
alone in
have
those
the
woods.
strength of character to go into the woods and learn how to hunt, you have the strength of character to drag your sister with you.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, Farrah's dumb, but we love her.
We do love her. She is dumb. I also would be. I was stupid at 19. Stupid.
Yes.
Like I get it.
Yes, yes. And I
So.
also I think it's important to also make the distinction she's dumb, but she is intelligent.
Oh, she's very smart. Yeah. Oh yeah.
She makes
Her
dumb
choices are
choices.
dumb.
Yes. But she
Yeah.
has great intelligence. She has learned how to survive and live, and she's,
Mhm.
handles herself well in bad situations, but
Yeah,
she's
she
dumb.
does.
Yeah.
She's arthritis.
It's fine.
Bless her.
It's fine. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of chapters 6 through 10. Um I don't Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about the
Oh,
chapter?
let me check my notes.
Yeah.
I did make notes about these ones. I don't think so. I think the quote where I said like, if trying to seduce why so grumpy, that was literally I put Tamlin Thought's quotation that. I have some things that are like more spoilery, so I'm
Mhm.
not gonna talk about those. Literally, so I had that was Tamlin Thoughts, and then I have Lucian Thoughts colon I love him so sassy. That was all I had for Tamlin or
That's
for Lucian. That's all I had for him.
I had two notes. Tamlin tries to be nice. She looks better than before and her hair is clean. LOL. And then I have
Yeah, and then
and then I just noted Farrah's 19. Wow.
yeah, just like child, truly. Like I cannot tell you the choice. I can't. We're not going into it. The choices I made when I was 19. Like I can't imagine. Like, and I have to try to like think that through because like she's not our age, right? She hasn't lived a lot more of the life that we have. But at the same time,
Yeah.
she also had to grow up
She had to
faster,
grow up
different things.
faster.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So no, that's all I had. Mostly Lucian's hot. Tamlin needs to get it together.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Come on, Tam Tam. You can do it.
You can do
You
this for
can
us.
do it,
Pull
Tam
through, my
Tam.
dear. She deserves a good love interest, and clearly you're the option. So
Yes.
you need to get there.
Clearly, clearly. Although,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Oh, Lucian, we
Oh.
love ourselves that Lucian boy.
On the bright side, if she's going for Tamlin, that means if we live in the fantasy world, we can go for Lucian.
That's very true. Oh, okay. How old do you think both of them are? So Farrah's 19. How old is he?
I was thinking 120. I actually don't know. Like truly, I don't know
We
how
need
old
to
he is.
know. We're
Like
gonna
I actually
start
don't.
we're gonna start the next episode with because I don't think we actually ever get that specific information. So we're gonna start the next episode
Yeah.
with like spoiler. This is how old these characters are. It's not a spoiler because we never find out.
I do think Lucian is the youngest of all of the characters that we meet.
Yes, Tamlin's
Like I do
definitely
think he's
older.
younger than Tamlin's older, but I don't know if we ever really know how much older.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's true. I never thought about that. In my head, he's like 120 because he strikes me as someone that's still kind of like that. To me, that's like I think he's essentially like the fairy version of like 22.
Okay. Yeah, Tamlin's probably closer to like 30.
That's one thing. I think he's like 28, 30, 31,
Yeah.
around in there. I think he's in that like age range, and then Lucian's from like 22 to 24,
Yeah.
around in there.
Yes, I think that we should do a special episode on the logistics of fairy ages and how it's possible.
Yes,
How all
and
of this is possible.
how it's possible and how like we can equate that to these 100-year-old men talking to a 19-year-old.
Yes.
Which gets complicated, but technically they do mature differently, so we have to think about that.
Yes, because fairies are not humans. It's important to note.
They are not humans. They are different.
Yes.
Like they physically age differently. So like the way their hormones and things are going to act.
Right. The way that they age
is going to be
physically is going to be different. So the way that they age mentally and emotionally will also be different. Yes.
Yes, which is
this
what
will
I
also tie into a bigger conversation when we talk about like vampires.
You know, they get frozen in time. It's fine. I always think of it as freezing them at that age, which is technically what's happening. Their body is frozen, which I can't imagine being like forever one age. That's a whole different thing.
Goodness.
But
I'm good. Like, if I was frozen now, I'd be fine with it. If I was frozen as a teenager or like early 20s, no way.
No.
That would be awful.
No, my brain. Do not freeze me until my brain is fully developed. Post 25. Thank you.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because like I feel like your impulses go away when you're a vampire. And this is a very big tangent. This book is not about vampires, but I agree. Do not freeze me as a teenager.
We interrupt this episode for a special segment. Random thoughts. Tortured Poets Department, okay? There is not a song on that album that I love more than Guilty as Sin, which is about her wanting to cheat and being like, I basically already cheated in my mind. I like, you know, I love that song so much.
It's so good. So does Sarah J. Maas.
The only way that I can like actually relate to it is like when I'm reading these books and I like totally fall in love with these characters. They're not real.
Yeah.
I don't want to cheat. Any of these men in real life, I'm like, no, you're a creep and a complete red flag. Please stay far away from me. But like listening to that song and I'm just like in my mind like giggling because I'm like, oh, if my book boyfriends.
Cheating with your book.
Cheating. I'm just like reading these books and I'm like, guilty as sin? Question mark. On that note, let's bring an end to this episode. We're going to be talking about chapters 11 through 15 next time.
Yeah, so read along with us.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, me again. I am here to let you all know where to find us. You can find us on Instagram at BookWitchesPod. You can find us on Spotify at BookWitches with a B. You can find us on YouTube at BookWitches with a B, and you can find us on TikTok at BookWitchesPod. All of this information is also going to be listed below our episode, and it's going to be listed in the ending credits if you're watching along with us in the videos. Well, see you guys. Catch you guys soon.